matches as far as the eye can see, booked by a con with the first name of Tony. Since this company started, he just kept signing talent after talent and says, oh shit, I need to give them all a pay-per-view payoff. So let's book them all on the show. It's a never-ending Tony Khan story. My God, let's get to the review. I'm John Renton with my review of AEW Double or Nothing 2022. Electric, my fucking God, this pay-per-view would not end boogaloo. There's going to be some praise, and I think in some alternate universe, this pay-per-view is still going on. Hell, it might be going on in this goddamn universe. I understand wanting to get everybody a pay-per-view payoff, but good fucking God, you could have cut 4 matches off of this show, and it wouldn't have been a miss. Like, fucking hell. Anyway, some praise, some scorn. Let's get to it. So the buy-in, video packages, very well done for the big matches, including MJF and Wardlow. Don't worry, I'll talk about that here in a bit. Excalibur and Shivani called the buy-in. The Acclaimed, well, Caster does the usual stuff. And then the Gun Kids screw up the name, as you would expect. Full Gear, All Out, no, it's Double or Nothing, you know. And of course, Bowens, you know, just knocks the ass, boys, and everything, and then they leave. I hope that Bowens recovers from his injury. I think him and Caster are a pretty good team. So, that Eddie Kingston promo, with him not wanting to give in to his demons because his demons can swim, I saw the whole thing, fucking brilliant. Eddie Kingston is this generation's Mick Foley as far as, and I mean, I know Eddie's been wrestling for a while. I'm just saying, as far as promos, when Mick was on, his promos were so fucking real. He's so fucking great. He's like a mixture of Foley and Terry Funk. But, so, this was great. Nese and Sterling make their entrance. Sterling does the usual manager stuff. Hook, and Danhausen. Not going to do the usual long-winded hook thing, because I'm tired. This is a long show. And also, this match really wasn't very good. It was just what it was meant to be. Danhausen eventually won after Hook did a bunch of throws and put his foot on Sterling's chest to win. Okay. I mean, whatever. The crowd was into it. I'm not into Danhausen, but there are people that are. So whatever. It was not even close to the worst thing on this show. So let's just move on from that. It was great to see Hook, though. So, JR shows up, we get the pyro, the crowd's up. The crowd really, really, really did try. My God, did they try. After the end of the show, they probably felt like they needed to be an institution. Look, this crowd did the best they fucking could to stay up. I will give them credit for having any energy for anything, pretty much from about, I would say, the 8th match on. So, they do a DraftKings spot 2 minutes into the pay-per-view, so it's nice to know that the WCW stuff where they would either pitch to Mean Gene or something and kill time, it's nice to know that shit never died. MJF's music hits, he came out. I don't know what's actually true. I know the meet and greet stuff is true. He didn't show up for that. I don't know if it was a power play, what happened, if he really did book a flight out and he was convinced last minute to do this. I have no fucking idea. I have no idea. I know he wanted more money on his contract, and he's talked about that. And personally, I think Tony should have at least given him some, because it's bullshit that MJF has over and overperformed as far as his contract goes. And I think he should have gotten some more money. But the thing is, he didn't want to add more years because he really wanted to renegotiate once 2024 came up. And I don't blame him. Wrestlers should get the most money out of a promoter that they can. And I understand Khan's point of view as well, but he signed a whole lot of people, and MJF is still one of the brightest stars he has, or at least maybe had. I don't know what's going to happen here. He comes down, Wardlow comes from the back with security. I believe Jordan Oasis, who's a local talent that has wrestled around the country as well, was one of the security guards. Seen him at some shows. He's fucking tremendous. The crowd roars as Wardlow gets down to the ring, and the crowd lays into MJF like a lot. They say, he showed up, he showed up. And fuck you, MJF, fuck you, MJF. It's Wardlow versus MJF, and if Wardlow wins, and he won, then he gets his freedom. And even though, and MJF, this was the most checked out he'd been, unless this is they turned a shoot into a work, this might be the last time we see MJF on an AEW program. And it's a 180. I know he's talked about wanting to have, more money on his comp, but god damn. He got the ring caught. He was not his usual self, and Wardlow basically killed him. Hit 5 power bombs, put the foot on his chest. 1, 2, stepped off, hit 5 more for 10. 1, 2, 3, and the crowd roars. Wardlow squashing MJF was the right call here, but all that stuff was surrounding. All that stuff was surrounding. And by the way, stretcher job. You deserve it. Da, 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 da. And they took him through the crowd. Quickest way to get him to the back, I guess. Also, good job on those EMTs for putting the mask over his eyeballs. Yeah, his eyeballs really need some goddamn oxygen. This was very odd. And it wasn't just this that made the pay-per-view odd. Everything felt off about this. Some matches either went way too long or were badly paced or whatever, but this was the right call. Wardlow is now all elite. He's thrilled. Feature this guy properly. I hope they can iron things out with MJF. Maybe he needs some time off. Tony Khan should, in my opinion, pay a king's ransom to him to make sure to keep him. If he really doesn't want to be there, then let him go. That's what I say. But if they can find a way to iron this stuff out, he can be one of the pillars of that company. If he wants to go to WWE and gain more money, that's fine. But I will say this, Vince won't put up with that shit. He won't put up with that stuff. It's going to be really interesting. Now, Khan looks like kind of a fucking idiot for how he's handled this as well, because this stuff has gotten out, and you would think he'd want to nip that in the bud and say, hey, we're going to tear up this contract like Vince did for Owen after the Montreal screw job, and just say, we're going to give you more money. Khan apparently doesn't want to do that. He honored all these deals for a bunch of people that had no business being on TV, and MJF, who does deserve more money, he should get it. Do you think MJF's gone? Do you think this is just going to end up with him coming back after a bit, taking some time off? What do you think? I'm glad Wardlow won, but this was really controversial and weird and just odd. You deserve a chance for Wardlow. That was really, really nice. Great for Wardlow. Now let's pick up the pace and talk about the next few matches. Caprice Coleman joins commentary. And then they added a 5th commentator, and then a 7th commentator, and then an 8th commentator. They just kept adding commentators until there were 2 commentary teams on either side. It was like watching, The Last Supper. In all seriousness, I like Caprice Coleman, but it's getting to the point when you add 4 people. Give JR a little bit of time. Give JR a bit of time off. Use JR sparingly. Angry, cranky JR is fucking hilarious. I will say that much. He was taking the piss out of a lot of stuff, and I don't blame him. So the AARP Hardys, as it were, taking on the Young Bucks. It's Delete versus Elite, Elite versus Delete, however you say it. Brandon Cutler, unfortunately, was also there. And they say the Bucks are the great, the Bucks and the Hardys are the 2 greatest tag teams of this generation. I mean, the Hardys, sure. I'm sorry. I just don't believe it with the Bucks. That's just my take. That being said, the crowd was chanting for Brandon Cutler. They shoved him because, no, they want to make it all about themselves, I guess. Weird. The Hardys cannot fucking move anymore. Cutler got involved. This was shit. I'm just going to say right now, this match was dog shit. Jeff swantons one of the Bucks on the steel steps because Jeff is bound and determined to break his own goddamn spine in the ring. And then he hits a swanton for 3. That was putrid. That was one of the worst matches I've seen this year, but not even the worst match on the show. I didn't expect it to be great, but goddamn, it was slow. It was laborious. It just wasn't. This wasn't good. So let's move on to the Acclaimed and the Ass Boys celebrating. Whatever. Celebrating being in Vegas. I don't know what the fuck this was. So they have the Showgirls for Jade's entrance. Anna Jay comes down as in her Magician Star of the Show outfit that she showed up in when she first showed up on AEW programming. Jade Cargill versus Anna Jay for the TBS Championship, and oh dear. I know why they put this on pay-per-view. For the aftermath. This match had no business being on pay-per-view. Anna Jay can maybe get there at some point. Jade has the look. That's it. This was sloppy. This wouldn't have belonged even on a YouTube show where you could edit it. So baddies interfere at one point. Kiera Hogan and Red Velvet, they get DDT'd, and then Sterling comes in with a crutch. Jay uses it on Jade. That's hard to say. But then get the Eye of the Storm, a winding slam for 2. and Jaded into the Queen Slayer. But then Stokely Hathaway, what is love, baby, don't hurt me. The former Malcolm Bivens, Stokely shows up. And cool, he's going to manage Jade. That's fine. He can be a good manager. And then Jaded off the top for 3. Yay, Jade won, continuing this reign of terror that really has done nothing for anybody. But nevertheless, I mean, there was no way they were going to put the title on Anna Jay. But then they had Statlander show up, who, sweet fucking Christ, please step on me harder if you could. Moving on from that. I wrote down good, let's prolong this. And then suddenly Athena shows up, the fallen goddess, the former Ember Moon. Good. That's a talent they could use. After seeing that match, that women's division can use all the help it can get. Anna Jay has potential. You might want to feature her in tag teams a little bit more. Jade, you gotta fucking hide her in 6-woman tags. You gotta hide her for at least a year. I'm sorry. This undefeated streak, this baddie section, all this stuff, it's smoke and mirrors to hide the fact that she's trying. She's a hell of an athlete. But this ain't good. Then, the Forbidden Door plug. They plugged the Forbidden Door a few times. By the way, that is in less than a month. I will be ordering that. It better be good. That better be fucking good. They might want to actually have it at a reduced price, but they won't. But moving on from that. The House of Masks, because everybody had masks and face paint and stuff like that. I guess the kid that was with Penta and Phoenix was Phoenix's kid. Whatever, kid looked like he was happy to be there. I liked that Alex Abrahantes had Tron sunglasses for no reason. The House of Black, Malachi, Brody King, and Buddy taking on Death Triangle, Pac, and the Lucha Brothers. Why have a ref? It was a stupid fucking goddamn... I'm sure he's a nice guy. But Rick Knox, I think is his name. If he's a good ref, they need to start having him as showing him as a good ref. This was an indie match that just had a bunch of flips and a bunch of stuff. It was like a, CMLL, AAA match, whatever. There were times where that worked in WCW. You would just do that kind of crazy stuff. That's the thing, though. Those matches lasted 9 minutes, 10. It also didn't, feature... They just feature guys that might be feuding in, whatever promotion they were working in, and you might, see them on WCW Saturday Night, and what... The whole point is, these matches wouldn't seem like they would take forever. This match just went on with everybody hitting everything, and it got to the goddamn point where I'm like, why? It's just white noise. The referee didn't even need to be there. Could have taken a goddamn nap. Looks like he's still taking a goddamn nap, because it doesn't look like he's been awake for about 50 fucking years. Brody crashed on the apron. I hope he's alright. And it all just blended together. We got a distraction. We got a low blow. The crowd was pissed because Pac hit a low blow on Malachi Black. And then he's up to do the Black Arrow and then Blackout. And I believe JR said, oh, the lights went out again. Because JR knows this is bullshit. And then Julia Hart shows up. And she missed everybody. Why she just missed Pac? She actually missed him pretty goddamn good. She didn't miss him with the mist. 1, 2, 3. A dirty blonde college cheerleader spraying something on camera. I usually have to go to a different kind of website to see something like that. Always delete your search history. And Malachi pins Pac. I know there were some people that liked this. I didn't. Sad thing, not even the worst thing on the show. Adam Cole versus Samoa Joe. Adam Cole, baby, against Samoa Joe. Men's Owen Hart finals match. Look out, this match is happening. Crowd was into it. Joe was, clearly dominant with great strikes. Cole focused on the arm. That was some nice stuff, considering the lead pipe had been used by whatever the fuck that is. It's with Lethal and Dutt. I know he's not very good. And it was decent. It did go a couple minutes too long, but nevertheless, at least this match made sense. Bobby Fish interfered or whatever. I understand that he really remembers when Vegas was just, a landfill or just nothing but desert. In fact, he remembered when dinosaurs roamed the earth. I'm saying he's old. And they lowered that boom kick, and Adam Cole, baby, wins. Cool. Gee, I wonder who's going to win the women's Owen finals match. Well, we don't have to wait long to find out. Fozzy guitarist plays Britt to the ring. He plays. Man, did more lip syncing than Chris Jericho. And he didn't even sing anything. Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho. Rancid played her to the ring. Destination unknown. Ruby took another pin. This match was fine. Of course, JR flatly said, rancid. JR doesn't care. Britt targets the back after Ruby hit a drop kick to the outside. That was brutal. I'm going to say right now, every sharpshooter on this show looked like shit. The Rock no longer has the worst sharpshooter in the world. Whew, boy. I'm sure that Ruby was trying to sell the ribs, but she wasn't the only one doing this. And Ruby's a good worker. Britt is not that bad in the ring. Britt's not the best in the ring, but Britt's probably the best character they have. Then we get a victory roll variation. 1, 2, 3. They tried to recreate the thing from Mania 10, but they failed. It was more like Mania 11, the Mania that nobody liked. And there you go. Cole and Baker are celebrating the new power couple, the true power couple, the one power couple worth rooting for. I'm not even the biggest fan of Adam Cole, baby. And Britt Baker is fine to me, but this makes sense. Sure, Ruby could have used that victory. Ruby and Joe winning, it didn't have the visual that they would have wanted. I'm not saying that Britt and Cole shouldn't have lost, but it made the most sense. What are you going to do? Have Cole and Ruby win? I mean, if you thought it was bad that Ruby lost, okay, sure. Yeah, Ruby's taken a lot of losses, especially after coming in really, really hot at All Out. But nevertheless, Martha Hart comes out. I'm not going to get into a long dissertation about her promo. This meant a lot to her. She also looked like she was going to go to a Kentucky Derby at some point. Tony Khan shows up because PR move. Don't forget to acknowledge Tony Khan, JR says, because he got his money and he knows that this is bullshit. She did a speech. It was very nice. Very good way to honor her husband. Except for, as one friend pointed out to me, those were trophies that were shaped like urns. Thank you, by the way, to that particular friend of mine. I can't unsee it. And the belts were presented to them. Okay. I'm glad that Sammy and Ty weren't in this goddamn thing, because if they had won it, you might as well just set the goddamn thing on fire. It was what it was. Speaking of was what it was, Men of the Year, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page with Paige Van Zandt as part of their team, with Dan Lambert, the sheepish lion Dan Lambert, taking on Kaz, Sammy Guevara, and Ty Conte. Why were Sammy and Ty dressed like discount, dollar store Disney villains? No idea. Check out Kaz's tweet, by the way, to Ty Conte. There are screenshots of it going around. Ty fucking deserved it. Just saying. Sammy deserves it too. But Ty decided to come at him and he basically verbally smacked her down. Maybe actually try not being a home wrecker and maybe that won't be a problem. This should have not been on pay-per-view. I would have said that, in all honesty, you could have taken Jade and Jay, you could have taken the House of Black and Death Triangle and put that on TV, and you could put this on TV. No business being on pay-per-view. And I get it, Paige Van Zandt, she did some good moves. I like Kaz, I like Scorpio. Ethan can work, but I don't really care much about him. Sammy and Ty could just friggin' vanish into the abyss for all I care. Paige Van Zandt, whatever. The men aren't interested in seeing the women fight, JR said, which could be interpreted a bunch of different ways, but I don't think that he was necessarily wrong because everybody wanted to get this match over because we were already well into the show on a longer than 3-hour tour, And at one point, a facebuster to the knee, and JR says, the hell was that? And Kaz says, fuck it, but then he keeps fighting. And then Sammy accidentally kicks Ty. Not the first time she's gotten in the face on camera. And then TKO on Kaz. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so Kaz, the one with the most upside. Because he doesn't drop himself on his goddamn head like Sammy Guevara takes the pin. So now Kaz and Sammy cannot get a TNT title shot as long as Scorpio is champion. Darby then took on Kyle O'Reilly. O'Reilly fists and busts up Darby. Darby nearly dies on a freaking dive. Or a rolling kick. I don't know what the fuck he was trying to do, but he crashed and burned. There was some good arm focus by O'Reilly. And O'Reilly won with a diving knee. For the love of God, if Darby does not stop trying to end his life on TV. Seriously, stop doing this shit. Ain't the biggest fan of Darby outside the ring, given some of the stuff that's happened, even though, met him before that stuff happened. He was a nice guy, but I still don't want to see somebody, end up badly just because of that. But O'Reilly won with a diving knee. This could have been safe for TV, though. And we didn't get Sting coming out. Thunder Rosa with a tribute to Uvalda. I hope I pronounced that right. I apologize. That was very nice. Very nice. Great outfit. Love the bodysuit. Love the tribute. Bullshit, by the way, that innocent elementary school children suffered and the police did nothing. They're all cowards on that police force. Anybody that was part of that, they deserve to be banned. No, they deserve to be banned from this goddamn earth. Shoot them into space for all I'm concerned about. Seriously, innocent children, teachers, and everybody that were crying for help and the police did nothing because they were fucking cowards. If you don't think that some kind of reform needs to happen, and you think that, nothing happened, we're getting shootings all over the goddamn country now, and they've been getting them for the last few years, this is bullshit. Something needs to be done on a lot of sides. I'm fucking sick of it. Moving on. Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb. But, Serena calls herself the professor. That's a good thing, Serena, because professors can actually be at schools. Your, other half can't because he's not allowed to be legally within 500 feet of a school zone. If you know, you know. Marty Skrull's a piece of shit. Truly is the villain. AEW Women's Championship match. And everybody knows I love me some Thunder Rosa. I respect the fuck out of Thunder Rosa. And she's smooth and crisp in the ring and great to watch. And Serena Deeb is very good in the ring. She's bland as fuck on the mic. But as far as work rate, this was great. This was one of the few fucking highlights of the goddamn show. This was great shit. Go back and watch this match. The crowd got back into it. And they made like a struggle. There were good submissions. Serena targeted the neck. Rosa is so smooth is what I wrote down. Double stomp by Rosa. Figure 4. They tumbled to the outside. And then at one point, we get a spot with a superplex and a Fire Thunder Driver 1, 2, 3. I don't have much to say about this because I really, really liked it. And you guys need to check this out. This was pretty much the high point of the pay-per-view for me because it was wrestling. This was good shit. One of my favorite matches of the year. Thunder Rosa knocking it out of the park. There's a reason why she was my favorite wrestler of last year, my personal favorite. And she's going to be high up on that list, possibly number 1. Feature Thunder Rosa more. She can be great as the champion. She can have great matches like this. You don't need to have great pay-per-view quality matches on TV. Let her defend the championship. Utilize the women's division, the talented women that you have there. Excuse me. Let Thunder Rosa actually be Thunder Rosa. And just let her defend the championship. Good shit. Shit's about to hit the fan is what Justin Roberts wrote down. And let's hear it for the Grand Wizard himself, Chris Jericho. If you know, you know. Anarchy in the Arena. Wild Thing kept playing throughout this whole thing. Anarchy in the Arena, by the way. Not Stadium Stampede, because it's a different fucking name. How dare you accuse anybody of saying it's Stadium Stampede 3, Revenge of the Shit? Am I tipping my hand about how I felt about this match? So, Eddie, Santana Ortiz, Danielson, Moxley versus the Jericho Appreciation Society. The former 2.0, Jake Hager, the CPA. Daniel Garcia, who had all the potential in the world and is now just being completely ineffective. And Chris Washed Up Jericho. They kept playing Wild Thing and looped it. And then Jericho eventually stopped the goddamn thing. If they just kept playing Wild Thing like they played, they did New Jack's theme, that would have been fucking great. In fact, they should have fucking did that because it would have hidden the fact that this match was absolutely one of the worst goddamn atrocities that AEW has perpetrated on their program in their entire existence. This was abysmal. Now, I know there are some people that like it, and if you like it, fan-fucking-tastic. I'm not saying you can't. This is basically the Bash at the Beach 1999 Junkyard match with a budget and with shittier camera work. Because they were trying to do this live camera shoot while everybody's over here. One of the 2.0 guys is bleeding. What is happening? Jericho smashes the soundboard. We get a table bump on Hager. Whatever. Hager hasn't meant shit. They shouldn't re-sign Hager. They should have never signed him in the first place. This is explosively bad is what I wrote down. They don't give a shit, kid, JR said. God damn it. At one point, Mox, they untie the turnbuckle stuff, and Mox is just trying to stab him with the turnbuckle, and this doesn't look like stabbing at all. It looks really bad. Tries to beat him up, And then we get, more stuff with the buckle spike. They're fighting in the freight elevator. Because why the fuck wouldn't they fight in a freight elevator? We get splashes off of a ladder. Because why the fuck wouldn't you have a ladder in an Anarchy in the arena match? Because at this point, just blow the goddamn budget and just destroy everything and make it impossible for anybody in the next couple matches to follow this shit. If they had cut 3 matches off of this show, this still would have been absolute dog shit and one of the worst things I've seen this year. But at least it wouldn't have gotten to the point where the crowd was so fucking exhausted, even though they were trying to get back up. God damn it. So we get a fire extinguisher. God, I wish that thing had just exploded and just said, no, okay, that's it, folks. We can't continue the goddamn match because Jericho was a fucking idiot. We get a barbed wire board that Moxley can't even go through properly because they did that because the board botched. Eddie comes down with he's covered in blood, one of the 2.0 guys that he was with. I don't know which one it was, but he was bleeding bad. Comes down with a gas can. He pours it on Jericho and Bryan. It obviously wasn't real gas. I hope not. And never attempts to actually light anybody on fire. Good thing. Mox stops them from fighting, Danielson and Kingston. And then the Busaiku knee, or whatever the hell it is, Danielson tries to get the victory. Bryan gets choked out by the belt, aka the David Carradine special, and Bryan Danielson, of all people, takes the fall. Is he going to go to the G1, and are they just finding a way to write him off for a little bit? Why did Danielson take the fall? Nothing against Santana and Ortiz, but you're telling me one of them couldn't have taken the fall? Why did they're going to build the blood and guts and it's going to be stupid. God, this was rotten. This is one of the worst things that AEW has done in their existence. And especially with crowds. The stuff with the pandemic, whatever, it is what it is. WWE did a lot of pointless shit too. So, yeah, it is what it is. Andrade has a new business partner, and it's Roosh. Good. I like Roosh. It's very good in the ring. And him and Andrade will have a good, they'll be a good pair there. Please, for the love of God, stop having Andrade cut promos. Again, that Anarchy in the arena match was shit. So, Man of the Year and Lambert are moving on. Dante challenges Scorpio. Hey, look, we have another multi-man match, because of course we fucking do. Swerve Strickland, Keith Lee took on Starks and Hobbs, took on the Jurassic Express with Cage. It's a 3-way AEW tag title match. Taz joins commentary. He's quite the lizard, JR says. JR is taking a piss out of this whole goddamn thing. The match was good for what it was. Luchasaurus, when he's kept to a minimum from making, any grandiose mistakes, actually isn't that bad in short bursts. But this match was it was too much. It was too much. Everybody was just doing this stuff. If we hadn't just seen a 6-man match, well, a mixed 6 match that wasn't all that good, but also a trios match where every fucking thing happened, and Anarchy in the fucking arena where every goddamn thing happened, maybe this would have meant something. I understand wanting to give the fans what they want, but fuck. At one point, Starks does, a lot of really good stuff here because he's a star. There were some good spots here. At one point, Lee dives to a pop, and then we get a bunch of moves. We get the FTW Championship being used. Cage stops that. And the Jurassic Express gets hit on Swerve 1, 2, 3. Champs retain. Bit shocked by that. Would have expected the champs to lose. But whatever. It wasn't a bad match. But by this point, what the fuck? Dynamite's going to be in LA this week. That's going to be interesting to see how big that crowd will be. Punk comes out to a pop. Page comes out to some cheers. Both guys were getting booed. Probably because the crowd was saying, why the fuck did he not, cut a couple matches off of this? AEW World Championship match. The crowd stayed up the best they could for this. Boos for Punk and Page. We got an apron bomb. We got a nice superplex by Punk. They sold it. This made sense. There was some good shit to it. Page kept teasing going heel. Reversals. A moonsault outside. Page hurt his knee. Sold the knee. Good psychology. We get a sharpshooter, another bad sharpshooter. We get a Punk shot lariat. He hurt his knee. We get a Page bomb. Deadeye for 2. GTS by Page just for 2. And then he, at one point, just chucks Punk over the ring announcer table. the timekeeper's table, and grabs the belt, says, "You will never have this. This will always be mine." Ha 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 ha. And then he goes for the punk. He goes for the buckshot. The ref gets bumped. Trying to do GTS, and Page hits a lariat, grabs the title, and he's trying to do the Mania 8 thing that they did with Piper and Brett. And no, Page, no, don't do it. No, NTM. And then he puts it down, and then he tries the buckshot, and then gets hit with the GTS. 1, 2, 3. Yay! That young upstart of 42 years old, CM Punk, is now AEW World Champion. In all seriousness, he doesn't really need to be champion that long. He could lose it again at All Out. He won it now, so he would have to lose it again. He's not, nevertheless, tired. He won it here, and if he just holds it till the next pay-per-view, that's fine. Then he's going to go heel during his reign. But I am going to do this because of the fact this pay-per-view is way too goddamn long. This is ridiculous. Cut some of this shit down. If they make Forbidden Door this long, good fucking God, people are going to just freaking revolt. What do you guys think of this pay-per-view? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.